What's going on, everybody? Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Kieran, and I help people using a spiritual perspective. And today's video is about kind of advice, I suppose, advice that I would give people who are possibly going through or about to go through, I don't know, a spiritual awakening. All right, people that are at the beginning of some type of journey, I suppose. It's kind of why I hesitated to say like about to. People that are they're at the beginning, don't really know what's next. Maybe there's a fresh perspective. Maybe you're excited about the possibility of understanding things through a new lens, through a new perspective, right? You might be attracted to ideas, past lives, twin flames, soulmates, tarot readings. You might find these things to be exciting and new and fresh, right? Like discovering the strawberries, right? Like if you ever get strawberries in California, then you realize that that's what strawberries should taste like. And if you eat strawberries here in Canada, you realize they taste like dirt and they suck, right? So having that fresh perspective of something that is new, something that you think, oh, I didn't know that it could be like this before. That's kind of where you might be at, and that's who really this video is for. Now, that doesn't mean that I would give this advice 2 years from now or even 6 months from now. In fact, that's kind of the point of the video, actually, and because I wish that when I had started this journey, if that's how you want to say it, maybe it sounds a bit cliche, but I wish somebody would have told me many years ago the things that I'm about to tell you. And it should go without saying, but I should probably say it, that the first thing that you should probably realize is that you should avoid listening to other people, okay? Because what I know now will be very different from what I know later on. And I don't mean that in a general pithy sense, because we all get older and we understand things. Of course, yeah. I mean, obviously, a 20-year-old probably doesn't know as much as a 30-year-old, at least in terms of life experience. Knowledge is a whole other thing, right? But as much as that may or may not be true, what I'm more talking about is spiritual wisdom. And the stuff that you do go through, of course, naturally, you look back and you think, yeah, that was stupid, right? Why did I listen to all those people? So the thing that I would share with you the most, and I'll probably give you 4 or 5 things today, but number one would be don't listen to other people. Now, it sounds rude, maybe, but the amount of people that I listened to, especially at the beginning, most of them were wrong upon reflection, including myself, obviously. I don't mean like I knew everything. It's just that it was very confusing. I got very confused, right? You think that this spiritual perspective or journey is going to bring you something that you're going to love and that it's going to be amazing and that you're going to have a great time and you're going to be so rich and successful because you've been chosen and somehow you must be the one that's going to fix everything. But you know what? The reality is you're not going to do any of those things. Maybe one day, but not right away. What's going to end up happening is you're going to listen to a lot of people like I did. And you're going to say, oh, okay, well, that person knows what they're talking about, so I better do what they're doing. And then you waste 2 years. That's kind of what happens. Now, I'm just giving you general advice. I guess don't listen to me if you don't want to. You can always stop watching this video and go watch porn. I don't know. I don't know what people do. But just go do whatever you want if you don't want to listen to me. I don't want to listen to me either, but I'm going to go ahead and talk anyway. So the advice that I'm giving you is not meant to be do or don't. But when I was, younger and slightly in better shape, I was listening to all the wrong people about what I should and shouldn't do on my spiritual journey. And it really just made me feel like I was wasting my time. And I look back and I think a regret that I have is that I wish I had listened to myself more, right? That's what I wish I would have done. And that's what I'm trying to tell you to do. Like, listen to yourself more. Don't take everybody's words it's some sort of a face value, like as if everybody has some crazy truth that you need to live by. That's not the case. What I've realized about spirituality in general and this type of stuff to go with it is that people don't know what they're talking about. You just wake up and you realize it's not how you wanted it to go. It's not what you thought it was going to be. The people that you thought would stick around, the changes. Some of it is true, right? There's always a little bit of truth in everybody's perspectives and the life stories that they have. Absolutely. Of course, we don't want to discount that. But I look back and I think that I wish I would have just listened to myself more, because I probably would have made choices that were more aligned to what I wanted to do, right? I mean, even small example as an aside, when I was in college, other than doing drugs and not going to parties and getting laid, I was taking a bunch of general education classes, which I know you're supposed to do, but I wish I would have taken more classes that were just kind of what I will call to you now in a bit of a rough way, fuck off classes. I wish I had taken some fuck off classes, like intro to wine tasting or botany. I don't know. Maybe I would have met more people that were interested in just doing those kinds of things, and maybe I would have had a better time. Instead, I just took all these classes that I thought I should take because that's what I was supposed to do for the major that I was going. And I never really ended up having a very good time in college. So I probably wouldn't go back if I had to do it again. I'd probably just do more drugs. But this is my point, is just that you really should listen to yourself and stop into the next point, number two, stop taking everything so seriously. At the beginning of the spiritual awakening, the thing that maybe I did the most was I treated everything like the most serious thing in the world. Like I had to be the best version of myself. I had to do this. I had to act like this because all these spiritual people were doing that. And this is what it means to be spiritual. And I was going out of my way to be the kindest, most spiritual, loving, caring person on the entire planet. When really my true self is just a devious little fox who just wants to drink juice. That's really who I am at my core. And these people that I was spending time with or talking to, I don't know them anymore. Because as soon as I started to doubt, or what they would have called, as soon as my energy was low vibes, they didn't want to hang out with me anymore. Nobody liked me, nobody cared about me. And I was ostracized, essentially, right? People I thought were my friends were no longer. And I just took everything so seriously. I never had any fun. I was so concerned about what the next thing was going to be, about what I could do from now on, about how I could make it spiritual. Everything had to be spiritual. And the times I didn't, match those expectations of what I thought was supposed to happen, I just beat myself up. And I thought, oh, I'm not where I'm supposed to be. I should be over there. I should be doing this, and this person's doing that. And how come I can't do that, And I'd watch these people on YouTube, Victor Odo, Aaron Dowtree, maybe is his name, Jeff Foster. There's a lot of good people out there that maybe I don't necessarily watch as much anymore for various reasons, but all of them are doing these amazing things, and I just thought, well, I'm not doing any of that stuff, but I'm also doing other things that have nothing to do with that. You know what I mean? So I was so unfair to myself that I never ever got to enjoy being alive. You know what I mean? Like no one's actually having a good time on Earth, it seems. We're all just kind of sometimes happy, but mostly apathetic towards a lot of the things that are going on. And I think a lot of it has to do with treating things so seriously. I think we do that in general, not just spirituality, but within the context of this video, when you're going through the spiritual awakening, you're going to feel this impulse, this nudge to this idea that you have to do things in a specific way, and you better take it seriously. I'm here to tell you that if I could give you some advice on this, don't take it seriously. Just do whatever you want to the best of your ability. Don't stab people. Try not to do that. But other than stabbing people, in terms of your own spiritual journey, just do whatever you want. And it's not really about a goal, right? Spirituality is not a totem pole. You don't have to be on top, okay? Now, the other things that I wrote down here, because I did write them down, because I spent most of my 20s smoking weed, so I can't remember anything. Now, another thing would be, don't have any expectations, okay? And that's a good one. It's a good one for life, because you end up creating fantasies in your brain, and I do this all the time, and then it doesn't really work out. The things that work out are usually when you don't care, you're not paying attention, you're not so invested in it anymore. But as soon as you start trying to control it, which is what an expectation is, it doesn't work out the way you want it to, and you're disappointed, right? So in terms of the spiritual awakening, when you're going through it, and yeah, maybe at the beginning you're naive, you're interested, there's a lot of passion, ideas that you might have, but my advice is to not have expectations towards those things, because what happened to me and what happens to so many people is it always falls short, and you crash and you burn and you go through so much disillusionment, and nothing makes sense. I mean, I used to be so into tarot readings and angels and spirit guides and other divination tools, and the idea of twin flames and soulmates and past life readings and astrology and numerology and talking about these kinds of subjects, the universe, source. I was so into that. And it's not that I necessarily think all of it is bullshit now. Some of it is, but I do think that it never really helped. Or I should put it to you like this: when I put my head on my pillow at nighttime, I'm not thinking about past lives. I'm not thinking about, is that person a twin flame, or what will tarot think? It's, you know what I'm thinking about before I go to bed? Probably about how goddamn tired I am of having to live the same type of life without really having the things that I want, despite working so hard every day towards my vision. That's probably more or less what's going on when I kind of lay myself down to sleep, to put it poetically. Okay, so the real issues that we have, that we go through, they're often not all this stuff that just kind of gets in the way. A lot of it is distractions. Okay, so your expectations are another distraction. If you could do one thing just in general for your life, it'd be to have as little amount of expectations as possible, even towards yourself, because that's really where it hurts the most. Having expectations of other people, oh yeah, it's disappointing if you don't get a conversation with somebody. Maybe you're looking forward to talking to somebody, or a cute boy or girl works at a cafe or someplace, doesn't matter where, could be anywhere. There's only so many places that exist. And then you don't end up getting that opportunity that day. You have an expectation. It disappoints you a little bit. Sure, fuck it. Happens to everybody, right? But the expectations that you have of yourself, those are the ones that end up putting you in a place where you do lay your head down at night and think about all the things that you should be doing better, and you're not, and you don't have X, Y, and Z. Those expectations, those are the ones that make you depressed. And those are the ones that we start forming at the beginning of the spiritual awakening. And it would be in your best interest to have as little of those as possible, and to just live more presently, and to experience what's happening as if, it's happening to you for the first time. And it is. So experience it as if you were almost playing a video game, like you're in it for the experience, right? Rather than what you think is supposed to be it has to go like this, because you're going to be disappointed, obviously, but you're also going to be unhappy. And being disappointed is something that you can handle better when you're generally happy. But being unhappy and being disappointed, that's not a good mix, right? At least I don't think so. Okay. Now, another thing, you're probably wrong. It's true. You probably are. Almost definitely. Okay. We're all wrong. In general, nobody knows what they're talking about. I mentioned that earlier in this video, including me, right? I mean, it's not that nobody knows anything, obviously. It's just that the spiritual ego, this part of you that attaches itself to this new lifestyle that you're going through, you're gonna want to do things like think that you're right and alienate people, and think that you have to do this to get to a place, and that this is what these people are doing, and that you have all the answers, and that if you have these answers and you do this certain action, that it'll all work out, right? And all this stuff is tying in together, really. The answer, is that no, you don't know what you're doing. You're an idiot. That's okay. Be an idiot. An idiot in the sense of like being a fool, like you don't know what's happening. Like, of course, obviously, why would you? You don't know. I don't know. I used to think that I knew. God damn it. I thought that I knew. And I didn't know. How many times I thought, oh, this person, oh, I know this woman, this woman is definitely soulmate or someone important, and it didn't work out. And then reflect upon it later and I go, oh yeah, well, that makes sense now. But at the time I was so sure. I was so sure, right? Didn't work out. A job, a path, an idea, a perspective, it doesn't matter what it is. There's going to be times where you think on the spiritual journey that you're absolutely certain of some kind of truth, and you're going to be disappointed 9 times out of 10 to realize that you didn't know what you were talking about. So if you find yourself on this journey thinking that you have it all figured out, I promise you, you don't, and life will remind you of that by throwing some absolute chaotic bullshit your way and giving you no sense of safety whatsoever with whatever new bullshit it throws your way, okay? Every time I've thought to myself, all right, I know what I'm doing. I got it all figured out. I got the spiritual truth. This is how these people are. This is how I am. I know what I'm doing. I know what's going on. As soon as I started to feel like that and think like that, something happened to completely disrupt that. So now, rather than be surprised and scared every time something bad happens, I never am shocked. Just like I'm never shocked if something good happens, because I don't, it's not that I don't care. It's just like, because I do care. It's just I don't think that I know everything anymore. I mean, I'm still an arrogant bastard, obviously, but that's my personality. But in terms of a spiritual truth and thinking that I know something that other people don't, that part of myself is more or less evaporated, let's say. Now, the last thing, and this one I don't need to look at my paper to tell you, because I feel so very strongly about it. Above all else, and this might even just be me talking to myself at this point, avoid New Age mumbo jumbo. Avoid it. It's almost all bullshit, and it will ruin your life like irreversibly. It will do a lot. You'll waste money, you'll waste your energy, you'll waste your time. This is anything from twin flames to past life, stuff, to the law of attraction. Something I hate. I hate the law of attraction. Crap. Just all crap. Okay, you can't prove it. A lot of it's like just older ideas rehashed with new age lingo, okay, new words, right? A lot of people just end up wasting their time, waste their money in these cults, these practices, these gurus, and they end up in the exact same place. And I know, I used to coach people, right? I used to deal with them. I used to do tarot readings on a daily basis for people, and you'd get the same kinds of people washed out, burnt out on the other side of it, and you feel sorry for them. And I felt sorry for myself when I was one of them for at least a year and a half or two, maybe. So going back, if I could change it, I would stop paying attention to all the new age stuff, because you can be spiritual, you can understand spirituality, you can have a spiritual side of yourself without it being new age. You don't have to dress with certain kinds of clothing, those really tight t-shirts with the deep v-neck. You don't have to wear a bunch of bracelets. You don't have to have tarot cards. You don't have to believe in X, Y, and Z. You don't need a twin flame. There's a lot of stuff that's just going to slow you down and keep you in place. Now, it might be controversial for some of you who watch my videos and consider themselves New Age, but I'm not New Age spiritualist. Okay, that's not what I am. I haven't been like that for years. And this is, again, what I'm talking about. I used to think that was the way of everything, was that belief system, and I do not think that anymore, right? Some of it, I think I can see some truth, yeah, sure, but I wouldn't advise you to throw yourself into it like I did. I would put your foot in the pool a little bit, test the waters, and then if you can, get out, right? Think of it like a jacuzzi. You don't want to stay in it for more than 20 minutes, right? So avoid New Age as much as you can. It doesn't mean that there's literally nothing to offer, of course, but for me, especially the twin flame stuff, that ruined my life. The amount of money that I spent, if I could have that back, I don't know what I would buy with it. I really don't. Maybe like a new laptop or something. I don't know. I probably spent at least $1,000 to $2,000 on spirituality in general. And it's just kind of crazy how often people who go through these journeys don't have money, especially at the beginning, and then there are the people that end up paying all this money to these gurus and self-proclaimed masters who end up taking advantage of you. And that's what happens more often than not. Even good-natured people are still taking advantage, even if they think they're helping, because what happens 2 years later is you end up thinking to yourself, shit, I didn't even know what I was talking about back then. I still spent all that money. So you have to be careful. You really do have to be careful. You don't want to have these expectations. You don't want to listen to too many people. You really want to listen to yourself. Stop taking things seriously and try to avoid this mumbo jumbo, right? Try to avoid all the new age spirituality the best that you can, okay? Because it's not the past lives and soulmates and tarot readings that are going to get you through whatever emotions that you're dealing with. It's not the stuff that's going to make you whole. They're just little bits of information. And information's great, but ultimately you're the one that has to live your life. So in order to live your life, you have to experience it. You have to experience what's going on with yourself. And that doesn't really require new information. It requires courage. The courage to feel your pain and to still get up in the morning and say, fuck it, I'm going to do it again.